material sense gratification. And the other thing is, he well knows that the consequences of material sense gratification are material suffering. Huh? Why would you do something if you know that in the future you're going to suffer for it? Huh? This is not very intelligent. If you know that, you know, if you hit yourself over the head with a hammer, you're going to suffer. So you don't do that. Huh? Similarly, if you know that if I take or accept this material sense enjoyment, I'm going to suffer in the future. And then you experiment and you prove it to yourself over and over again that, yes, every time I fall down from the regulative principles, I'm miserable. Huh? You do that enough times, eventually will sink in that, oh, maybe I just shouldn't fall down from the regulative principles. But what gives us the ability to remain steady is the realization of transcendental pleasure. That's very important. That's why a devotee is not only not attracted to sense enjoyment, he's actually kind of disgusted by it. You know? It's just like if you, what's a good example? If you're into really good music, like classical music or, you know, really fine jazz or Indian music or something like that, and then you hear some of this rap music or Britney Spears or something like that, you just go, ew. You know, your ears automatically just like, it grates on your ears. It's just like, ooh, ah. You reject it automatically. If you have developed a higher taste, see, a finer appreciation for a better quality, better aesthetic. So it's like that with spiritual pleasure. You know, once you've tasted this spiritual pleasure, you never want to go back to material pleasure. It's like, what's the use? What's the point? It's not at all attractive. It's ugly. It's crass. It's gross. It's, you know. So a devotee feels like that, detached. Emperor Bharata provides a typical example of detachment. He had everything enjoyable in the material world, but he left it. This means that detachment does not mean artificially keeping oneself aloof and apart from the allurements of attachment. That's a very important point. Even in the presence of such allurements, if one can remain unattracted by material attachments, he is called detached. See, in the neophyte stage, the devotee tries to use willpower. I'm not going to touch that chocolate. I'm not going to drink that Coca-Cola. I'm not going to take that cigarette or you know, whatever it is that we're attached to. Sex life is usually the main one. And it takes a willpower, and he keeps falling down and falling down again and again. And this is because he has not developed transcendental pleasure. See, as soon as that happens, then it's easy to give these things up. Of course, in the beginning, a neophyte devotee must try to keep himself apart from all kinds of alluring attachments. But the real position of a mature devotee is that even in the presence of all allurements, he is not at all attracted. That is the actual criterion of detachment. One time, Srila Prabhupada said, I could be in a room full of naked women and I would not be attracted. He said, that's the difference between me and you. He was talking to his sannyasi disciples. That you are forcibly controlling the senses. But my senses just, they don't have any attraction to these things. What's the attraction? See? If a devotee sees a naked woman, he thinks, oh, I should hook her up with Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa can satisfy her. I can't satisfy. Pridelessness. When a devotee, in spite of possessing all the qualities of pure realization, is not proud of his position, he is called prideless. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that King Bhagirath was the emperor above all other kings. Yet, he developed such ecstatic love for Kṛṣṇa that he became a mendicant and went out begging even to the homes of his political enemies and untouchables. He was so humble that he respectfully bowed down before them. There are many similar instances in the history of India. Even very recently, about 200 years ago or less, one big landlord known as Lal Babu, a Calcutta landholder, became a Vaishnava and lived in Vrindavan. He was also begging from door to door, even at the homes of his political enemies. Begging involves being ready to be insulted by persons to whose home one has come. That is natural, but one has to tolerate such insults for the sake of Kṛṣṇa. The devotees of Kṛṣṇa can accept any position in the service of Kṛṣṇa. So we're not attached to the position, we're not attached to honor, prestige. These are all subtle traps, subtle sense gratification. Gross sense gratification, it means like sense enjoyment. But subtle sense gratification means gratification of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So just like we should not view the gross sense gratification as desirable, we also should not be attached to the subtle sense gratification. These are collectively called pratishta. Pratishta means like honor, respect, position, exalted designations, and titles, and stuff like that. We shouldn't care for that. These are just names, and they'll go away, just like everything else that's material. You know, don't be attached to having people offer you respect. Don't be attached to some position in the material world, or even some spiritual position. Don't be attached. We feel, actually we have some position now of instructing or giving some spiritual knowledge, and we feel it as a great burden. It's a great responsibility. It would be much easier to live without this. But Kṛṣṇa wants it, and if Kṛṣṇa is pleased, then all right, we can do it for his pleasure. But we're not very attached to it. Great hope. The strong conviction that one will certainly receive the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called in Sanskrit Ashabandha. Ashabandha means to continue to think, because I'm trying my best to follow the routine principles of devotional service, I am sure that I will go back to Godhead, back to home. In this connection, one prayer by Rūpa Gosvāmī is sufficient to exemplify this hopefulness. He says, I have no love for Kṛṣṇa, nor for the causes of developing love for Kṛṣṇa, namely hearing and chanting. And the process of bhakti yoga, by which one is always thinking of Kṛṣṇa and fixing his lotus feet in the heart, is also lacking in me. As far as philosophical knowledge or pious works are concerned, I don't see any opportunity for me to execute such activities. But above all, I am not even born of a nice family. Therefore, I must simply pray to you, Gopijana Vallabha, Kṛṣṇa, the maintainer and beloved of the gopis. I simply wish and hope that some way or other I may be able to approach your lotus feet, and this hope is giving me pain, because I think myself quite incompetent to approach that transcendental goal of life. The purport is that under this heading of Ashabandha, one should continue to hope against hope that some way or other he will be able to approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Now, do you think this is exaggeration? Do you think this is hyperbole? Do you think this is just a pose by Rūpa Gosvāmī? No. He really felt like that. Great devotees really feel like that. because we know very well that we can't do anything. Kṛṣṇa has to do everything, especially when it comes to liberation or spiritual advancement or developing Kṛṣṇa consciousness. We can't do anything. We're helpless. We have no ability to advance in spiritual life by our own efforts. Just like when people look for a guru, they think, oh, I am searching for a guru, and when I find my guru, I will accept it. No. You cannot search for a guru, you cannot recognize a guru, you cannot find a guru, you cannot take a guru. This is all beyond our capability. Only Kṛṣṇa can